It is definitely a challenge, and it's all hands on deck.
Today on the Morning Edition, the heavy snow is melting in Juneau, but we are first alerting you to new dangers emerging. We'll have that forecast and tell you what drivers need to know about flooding and avalanche risks as rain moves in. Plus, tackling crime in Fairbanks after 8 violent crimes, including 7 shootings and 4 deaths. Fairbanks leaders called it coincidental, but do residents agree? We'll hear what people in the Golden Heart City are saying. And later, a spooky good luck charm for a fan's favorite team. A superstitious fan is refusing to take down his Halloween decorations, believing they're behind the Jaguars' winning streak. We'll find out about Skellen Quinn and if he'll bring the Jags victory this Sunday as the Morning Edition starts now. You know, I started to feel bad that my Christmas tree was still up. This guy's got Halloween decorations still up.
You know, I might actually go kind of with the forecast. If you had a skeleton up, you could say, hey, this is my bone-chilling decorations.
Yeah, maybe so. And it is a first alert weather day. So what are we looking at, Aaron?
Yeah, we've got a first alert weather day for Southeast. And, of course, into the weekend, we've got a first alert weather day across South Central. So we'll be breaking all of this down for you as we continue to head through the morning hours. 3 degrees here in Anchorage. So temperatures already beginning to climb above zero for parts of South Central as we see that push of warmer air and our next winter storm that's going to begin to build in across the region. Now, while Anchorage is sitting above zero, or at least West Anchorage, now Midtown and East Anchorage still seeing those sub-zero values. You can see 11 below in Soldotna, 9 below in Wasilla, and 10 below in Palmer. For many areas across South Central, we're about 15 to 30 degrees warmer than that bitter cold that we did see yesterday. So this is that storm moving in. It's replacing that cold conditions with some warmer weather. And you can see those temperatures today will continue to steadily climb by this evening. Through the overnight hours, we'll see those temperatures return back into the teens, and then some snow will build in across the region. Out towards Southeast, we've got those temperatures in the 20s, 30s, and 40s. Snow already beginning to transition to some rain through parts of the southern panhandle. As that builds northward, you'll see that transition from snow to rain from south to north throughout the day. Meanwhile, across southwest Alaska, through the western interior and the slope, we've got those temperatures still sitting well below zero to start off your Friday morning. So still holding on to some extreme cold across the state. We've got a multitude of weather alerts across South Central. Winter storm watch for a good portion of the region. Heavy snowfall possible for about 4 to 12 inches. We've got winter weather advisories from Valdez to McCarthy, where we could see up to 30 inches of snowfall accumulation, and blizzard conditions from Kodiak out towards Thompson Pass. Those continue throughout today. I'll have more on that in that 7-day forecast. Of course, the biggest impacts for Southeast, I'll talk about those first coming up.
Kids are out of school today in Juneau for the 3rd time this week amid severe weather. First, it was record snowfall, and now Southeast is dealing with the challenges that come with a warm-up. Joe Allgood spoke with the Department of Transportation to learn what drivers need to know.
It is definitely a challenge, and it's all hands on deck. Every operator is out in every single piece of equipment that they can possibly be in, and they're continuing to, plow and sand and push those berms back for people.
DOT crews have been working to clear snow where they can from Juneau state roads. Now they're looking to the next round of extreme weather.
What's coming up in the next couple hours, next couple days, is actually the high winds and an atmospheric river, so lots of moisture. And those are just the kind of conditions that we would see right before an avalanche, and we want to keep everyone safe.
The avalanche gates on Thane Road will be closed Friday in anticipation of the heavy rain.
If a slide does naturally release, we'll get out there and clean it as quickly as possible.
Residents are advised to call 511 and report any avalanches they may come across on the road, even small ones.
So we really don't want people driving through it. We want them to report it and wait for DOT crews to clear that for them.
Joe Allgood, Alaska's news source.
In Anchorage, deep snow is forcing wildlife out of their usual habitats and into Anchorage neighborhoods. Fish and Game says until now, we haven't had a significant dump of snow this season in Anchorage, but with more on the way, expect to see even more moose around. As the snow gets deeper in the mountains and foothills, they tend to come to town looking for easier travel and food. And it's not just about the snow. These moose are also nutritionally stressed. They're hungry and, yes, a little grouchy.
Take a peek around when you go out to let dogs out in the morning or step out of your front yard. If you do have an encounter with a moose that's aggressive or stressed, please let the Anchorage Fish and Game Office know, or the Alaska Wildlife Troopers, so that we can take a look at that animal and evaluate it.
While there have been no reports of aggressive moose so far, it is a possibility. That's why Fish and Game urges you to be on the lookout and always give them plenty of space. Fairbanks leaders are calling 8 violent crimes over the last 10 weeks coincidental, including 7 shootings that left 4 dead. We asked Fairbanks residents if they agree. Some people living in the Golden Heart City told our Matt Mertz they don't necessarily feel any less safe than usual. Others think the prolonged period of extreme sub-zero cold weather has played a role.
I'm an Alaska kid, born and raised, but I've lived in, pretty much lived on the street in a lot of cities in the United States. And Fairbanks seems perfectly safe to me.
I get people's concerns, but you know, it just kind of feels like it's just the same amount that happens in Fairbanks.
I think Alaska, and Fairbanks especially, has its own flavor of Alaska man or woman. And I just think that it's seasonal partly.
Police have made arrests in 7 of the 8 cases. A November case where someone shot at 2 trucks on the highway remains unsolved, with a $20,000 reward being offered. We'll link you to our investigation on our website and mobile app. Turning tragedy into triumph, a mother's unwavering love is creating a lasting legacy for her son, a daring climber whose dream will now help others reach new heights. Danny Tompkins shares her inspiring story.
It needs to be positive, to help others, to teach others, to bring people together.
Janine Mormon's son, Balin Miller, was a great climber.
Here's Balin coming up the very snowy mixed pitch,
who summited one of the most difficult climbs on El Capitan in Yosemite National Park.
Sea of Dreams is hardly ever done, period. And he did it solo.
But fell when going back to retrieve his gear.
But I'm still proud of him. I'm pissed that he's dead. But he did make that summit, and people need to know that about him.
And Mormon couldn't let it be the end of Miller's story.
All the grief and sadness that I have, I can't just sit on it. I have to turn it into something positive and good.
That good led her to the Balin Scott Miller Foundation.
It may prevent somebody from a back concussion, stitches, an arm, a limb, or even death. Balin would want that.
The foundation that will offer 2 grants to climbers under the age of 24. One grant
is called the To Be Fair Balin Shoe Grant, because Balin, his favorite line, he'd come to any conversation, he'd be like, "To be fair, Mom."
A grant specifically for shoes.
The other, called the Orange Tent Guy Grant, will be for essential climbing gear, like the 70-meter rope that is between $200 and $400, or these quick draws that are $20 each, both essential for safely climbing.
Mormon is also putting her experience into words.
And there's an article that's being published on his birthday, which is Monday the 12th.
What are we going to climb?
Monday would have been Miller's 24th birthday. The magazine didn't know. The timing, purely chance.
Are you serious? I was like, really? You know, and it wasn't planned.
For Janine, the coincidence may be a sign.
I hope he's watching.
That turning her pain into purpose is exactly what Miller would want.
So maybe all the tears I've shed, I've shed thousands. Maybe that will be replaced with grants and money to help forward somebody else's dreams.
Miller's friends and family plan to meet for his birthday at his second home, which is the Safeway parking lot in Canmore, Canada, where he would spend weeks on end camping just so he could climb. They're going to wear orange, put on glitter, and celebrate a life that continues to inspire. Danny Tompkins, Alaska's news source.
Mormon asks for people to wear orange on Monday and support and share on Instagram by tagging orange10guys.us. Coming up, winter woes for skiers after a big snowfall in Anchorage. Why are some slopes still waiting to open? We'll tell you when you can expect to hit the mountains at Arctic Valley and what you can do in the meantime next. Last year brought struggles for ski areas across South Central with the lack of snow. And now this year, after this week's dumping of snow in Anchorage, the slopes are, for the most part, still pretty quiet as they continue to wait for more snowfall in order to open up for the season. Anchorage's snow dump this week of 19.4 inches only brought Arctic Valley 8 inches of snow. The ski area telling us it's still waiting for at least another foot before it can open up. Last year, the lack of snow caused them to push their start date to early February.
You know, financially that hurts some, right, to not be able to, to miss the first couple of months of ski season or a month and a half of ski season. But fortunately, we've got snow tubing and we've got a strong wedding business that, helps us keep going and, mitigates that impact a little bit. We were able to stay open through the first Saturday in May for skiing and snowboarding, though. So we were able to extend the season by about 3 weeks, which did help make up for some of that.
Right now, with the forecasted snow, Arctic Valley is hoping to open up next weekend. Hilltop Ski Area and Alyeska have been open since the weekend after Thanksgiving, and it sounds like they're going to get their wish, Aaron, with that snow coming.
Yeah, we do have several rounds of some snowfall pushing back through South Central into the weekend, which is going to lead to several inches of snow accumulation. We've got multiple first alert weather days across the state, more so for Southeast and South Central. Snow becoming rain for the Panhandle. That's going to lead to a major flooding possible risk, as well as some landslide concerns and high avalanche danger. As that snow level will rise in the atmosphere, we'll still see several rounds of that heavy snowfall that will build into some of those higher elevations. Meanwhile, across South Central into the weekend, we've got some heavy snow likely, gusts up to 50 miles per hour, reduced visibility, and we're also watching. We could see up to, if not more than, a foot of snowfall across parts of South Central. So things are fairly quiet this morning across the region for at least South Central, but you can already begin to see some rain out towards the Panhandle, as well as some rain-snow mix. There's our area of low pressure. Notice a ridge to the south, and then we've got another ridge as you head out towards the Pacific Northwest. Now, embedded within this is our atmospheric river, and this is where we're pulling in all of that warmth and all of that moisture. So we'll see that snow level as well as that rain-snow line beginning to lift north as we welcome in the remainder of today on into the weekend. And that's going to lead to that avalanche and landslide risk, as well as some flooding concerns and high winds for parts of the southern Panhandle. We've got winds expected to gust upwards of 60 miles per hour. You can already see temperatures this morning warming into the 40s through the south, while locations to the north are still seeing those temperatures in the teens, 20s, and sitting near freezing. So we are going to see areas from Haines, Kluckwan, out towards Skagway, holding on to that snowfall potential likely into tomorrow before we begin to see that transition for you. And that's why there is a winter storm warning for extreme northern parts of the Panhandle, where we could see up to 17 inches of snowfall. Winter weather advisory through this morning, as you can see from Sitka out towards Juneau, with an additional 1 to 3 inches of snowfall expected. Flood watch encompassing most of southeast due to that flooding potential, as well as those high winds to the south, where we could see gusts up to 60 miles per hour. So this morning, you can see that freezing line already to the south, but it's lifting to the north. Now, Juneau, you'll see that transition sometime between the hours of 1 and 3 p.m. today, where you'll see that transition from snow to rain. And rain falling upon snow will lead to very icy conditions, and that snow melt and rain will lead to additional impacts of that flooding. But notice out towards Haines, Skagway, Kluckwan, this is where we're going to continue to hold on to that snowfall potential through today before that transition looks possible into the day tomorrow. Now, we'll see some dry time tonight before more rounds of rain build back in as we welcome in your Saturday on into Sunday. So we are first alerting you to all of these widespread impacts to be expected across Southeast, and take the necessary precautions when it comes to protecting your property as well as your life. Notice the amount of rain that we could see, particularly for areas south of Juneau, where we're primarily going to see all rain. There is that potential. We could see up to 3+ inches of rain accumulation. So we are first alerting today and tomorrow across Southeast for that flood potential. You can see into next week, looking likely that we'll continue to hold on to more of that widespread rain with localized areas of wintry mix.
All right, thanks, Aaron. From Alaska to Broadway, a local theater crew is taking a hilarious historical journey all the way to the Big Apple, but not before one last performance in Anchorage tonight. Cassandra Mansell pulls back the curtain.
It's history told with humor and a lot of heart.
Overland is based on the true story of the first woman to drive across the country unassisted in 1910.
This Alaska-made comedy tells the story of Blanche Stewart Scott and her journey across the U.S. in a car marketed as the Lady Overland.
She also was one of the first female aviators. She was a stunt pilot. She was a Hollywood producer. She did filmed stunts of her own in films. She had all of these great adventures, and this was kind of just the start of it.
The play debuted in Valdez in 2021, and now Scott's daring ride is turning into a stage-worthy odyssey, from The Last Frontier to a short off-Broadway run later this month.
It's going to be challenging, but it's going to be one of probably the most rewarding theatrical experiences of all of our lives.
It's truly a moment for this local crew to shine.
Being able to take all of that hard work and bring it to kind of the epicenter of theater is beyond exciting. Like, we can't, it's a dream come true.
Cassandra Mansell, Alaska's news source.
And as mentioned, that one night only performance is happening tonight. That's at 7 at the Sidney Lawrence Theater in downtown Anchorage. It's serving as a fundraiser for their trip to New York, but tickets are selling fast. You can find more info on our website.
Thanks for listening to our podcast. Click subscribe so you can get the latest podcasts from Alaska's news source automatically, and stay up to date with breaking news and in-depth reporting available for free 24/7 with the Alaska's news source app.